So, two shows dropped today on the 29th of June. One being The Witcher 3, which, let's be honest, probably isn't going to be good. Henry Cavill's gone, and indeed, I've heard no one talking about it on YouTube. The other show is Warrior Season 3. It's finally here, and from my view, possibly one of the best but most underrated shows out there. But I, along with others and you, want to help change that. 3 episodes dropped, so I'll review them all at once. Episode 1 opens up 2 months after the riot. The main plot points can be broken down into the Hopway are being slowly bled dry by the authorities due to Mai Ling having dirt on Buckley. She's also busy incorporating smaller tongues under the Longzhi banner, whilst also smooching up to the upper class white women of the town. Lyra is now a somewhat politician trying to work within the system. The police are enforcing every law in the Hopway territory in an effort to break the Chinese, as Sam and Young Jun still aren't really vibing since Mai Ling's revelation. And because of this, the Hopway are suffering because of the crackdown. They look for new ways to survive, and that's the basics of the episode. So, was it good? Hell yes! The opening 10 minutes is one of the best set pieces in any show, including this one. It pulls no punches in reminding us that Assam is top boy for the Hopway. He takes on numerous Longzhi before Young Jun and the rest of the Hopway arrive and a mass brawl breaks out. We even get a brief fight between Lee Young and Assam before the police arrive. Bill thinks he's in line for a promotion that sadly doesn't come. Now I'm just speculating, but going forward I wonder if his sympathies are going to change somewhat, especially because A, he doesn't like his new boss, and B, because they go far too hard physically on the ordinary Chinese citizens. There's a new character in the form of quck, played by Mark Dacascos, the former leader of a tongue which has been incorporated into the Longzhi. And they have a scene where I'm sure he's planting a seed in Lee Young's mind. Lee Young has convinced himself he isn't a leader, but that scene can't have been there for no reason. Bill, it turns out, has been trying to get Lee to join the police, but to no avail. Lyra uses both his fists and his voice to get the Irish some jobs. It's fun seeing him in a meeting and him trying to comprehend the roundabout of politicking. You feel his frustration, as I'm sure we are all frustrated with our own politicians. The episode ends with Assam, Youngjun, Hong and Chow robbing a gang's hideout due to Chow letting them in on a pile of cash he saw whilst on a weapons deal. Well, it turns out the cash is gone, but better yet, there is a press and plates downstairs to make counterfeit money. Episode 2 starts off with the introduction of some Secret Service agents on the hunt for said counterfeit money. The printing isn't going well for our trio because, after all, they're gangsters. But Assam has an idea and goes to have a word with the printer from episode 1 who Young Jun threatened, but he's unwilling to help. It turns out Buckley has been using Penny's money to finance his campaign, and assures his campaign manager she won't be getting out of the asylum soon. 2 more bounty hunters come looking for Lee. Mai Lee turns to Pac for some advice, and it seems like Lyra is losing his grip on the Irish, at least for a bit. We get a really good scene with Special Agent Mosley arriving at the police station, and he makes quite an introduction. Leary goes to see Buckley about more jobs for the Irish. Now these scenes are always good. He's both a fish out of water and a shark at the same time. Assam eventually finds help with the press in the form of Yan Mi, the daughter of the man who was threatened by Young Jun. She quickly is able to find the issue and how to fix it. Meanwhile, Leary is called out by 2 men he had to fire, and this ends in a fight. We're also reintroduced to Atoy's girlfriend, Nellie Davenport. She gets a visit by a developer called Strickland, wanting to buy her land before a railway line is built through it. Mai Ling has another talk with the women of money. Now, I'm not sure if this is an act on her part, because she says it is, or if she's being enamoured with being around the women. We get the second fight scene with Lee Young and Pak fighting off the three brothers Tong, who Mai Ling wanted to incorporate. And at the end, Special Agent Mosley tries to recruit Lee on the promise of making the murder charge go away. Now, some standout scenes for episode 2. Mosley's introduction to the police chief. He's all gentile and paciful at first. It's the usual Fed introduction from every TV show ever. But the new police chief is an arsehole and rebukes his request. So Mosley slaps his dick on the table and makes it clear his is far, far bigger. It was a fun scene, and it was nice to see the chief brought down a peg or two. Larry at the construction yard is a good scene. And he has to fire 2 of his lads. Now, I don't think he originally intended to, but they gave it some gob, so he binned them and warned the others that there's plenty to take the place if they don't want to work there. This sets up the first of 2 set pieces. The lads he fired are in his pub when they threaten him and offering him out. He refuses at first on account of not wanting to explain to their fathers what happened, but they push it too far by citing how Assam beat him, and is he afraid it will happen again? So he accepts the challenge and tells him to fetch his brother. Now, the scene itself is done very well, though I'm not going to lie, I'm here for the martial arts. Obviously for Leary, his style of fighting is very much the brawler, and it's more brutal, so it's different, and I guess it's graceful in a different way. Now, while he's fighting, he takes a punch to the chest like Assam did to him, and it affects him slightly, but he brushes it off and batters the 2 lads. But as he's walking off, he rubs his chest as though he really felt it. The second fight, as stated, is Lee Young and Pak versus the 3 brothers Tong. Now, watching it, it's curious how Lee Young, in this scene at least, really seems to kill. He snaps arms and legs for the fun of it, but even in this fight, whilst Pak is dicing up the enemy, Lee doesn't seem to kill as many, or if any at all. He even slaps a guy instead of punching him for the 3rd time. Now, Pak eventually kills their leader, with the rest assumingly joining the Long Z. Now, it's a very good scene, and we're told earlier that they once fought on the same side, so it's great to see them together. There's a history there, and I hope we get a bit more to explore it further. Now, more speculation on my part. I think he's going to try to become the leader of the Long Z, and he will be Lee Young's big fight. As much as we want the rematch of Assam and Lee Young, personally, I'm hoping Assam has a different big bad, and I don't mean Leary. I might be wrong, but isn't it fun to talk about good stuff again? Now, what do you think will happen? Episode 3, the money that Yan Mi printed cuts the mustard and they use it to pay off Happy Jack. Meanwhile, Strickland once again goes to see Nellie about selling up this time, getting more threatening with it by suggesting people think of it as a brothel, especially with her sleeping with a toy. The police get a visit from Special Agent Mosley and newly recruited Special Agent Lee. Mai Ling gets dressed up and goes to an art gallery where Buckley is also there, and there is a priceless scene between them. There's a budding romance between Assam and Yan Mi, and it seems Buckley's campaign manager is resorting to dirty tactics to ensure he wins. Meanwhile, Leary was talked into visiting Strickland in episode 2, but the meeting actually happens now, and things don't go to plan, and they almost end up bonding over war stories and the death of their children. Assam doesn't like how young June is handing out the counterfeit money, causing more friction between them. Also, Mai Ling corners Assam and once again tries to get him to back out from the Tong. The episode ends with the vineyard being destroyed by Strickland's men, this being the set piece of the episode. A still wounded Atoy, Nelly and Lai fight them off, although it is destroyed. So the highlights for me of this episode: Mai Ling at the art gallery. She more than holds her own, even complimenting Bernard on his English after he compliments her. As stated, there's a look of puzzlement and anger, really, between Buckley on his side and her, and she certainly takes it in her stride. Agent Lee really causes quite an issue when back at the police station. He outright accuses them of backhanders, which of course they're guilty of. But for me, it's a nice bit of justice for him. The police are there because they want him to test money. And a drop of iodine can prove whether the money is fake or real. The meeting between Leary and Strickland is very interesting. Leary looks like he doesn't fancy his chances against Strickland's big thug when they're first introduced. And it looks like there's both fear in his eyes and relief when Strickland tells him to get into the carriage. The scene between them in the house humanises the both of them. Once again, the writers adding nuance to the characters. I've enjoyed the budding relationship between Assam and Yan Mi. He's nervous around her, unsure what to say. And the parable is obviously them going forward. She challenges him, and he looks genuinely sad when she mentions he looked like an avenging angel during the riot, but was initially nothing more than a hatchet man. The meeting between Assam and his sister stands out, once again showing the complexity of the relationship, not just the life and death aspect, but the bickering they do in the scene. There's almost no difference between that and a normal sibling relationship on that level. The level of writing on the show is on par with how TV used to be. It's early Game of Thrones good. Now, I can't imagine this level of writing over at Disney, or at the majority of networks for their shows. The episodes ends with the set piece at the vineyard. One of the things I love about the show is it plays on the characters' strengths, but also their weaknesses. Atoy and Young Jun are excellent fighters with blades, but take the weapons away and they really struggle. The same happened in season 2 when Atoy was attacked. She barely survived. The show is smart enough to not fall into the modern Hollywood vision of a strong female that can go toe to toe with dudes 3 times their size. But not this show. She struggles, but give her a sword and she can more than hold her own. As for Lai, I think she's just really happy to be dicing people again. Now, going off the trailer, at some point it looks like Atoy is going to go to war with Strickland. Now, going forward, because of Assam and Atoy's growing sibling-esque relationship, I really want Assam to fight Strickland's big thug. He's got to be annoyed when he finds out, right? Now, of course, I've really enjoyed these 3 episodes. They've been a breath of fresh air when compared to TV at the moment. And from my point of view as a would-be YouTuber, it's been great to talk about something that I really, really like. Now, part of me wishes they'd dropped all the episodes at once, but I'm glad that I've got a show to look forward to for the next few weeks and to be able to talk about it with such joy. Anyway, that's all for now. Ta-da.